Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to round 6 of FTR for Season 2, Tier 1. We're here at Mexico, and it's a very dark and dingy Mexico. We thought it was raining, and we got very scared that it was raining, but as we come across the line to complete our first lap, it's a 15-1. That's a shocking lap time, but we weren't using any ERS on that lap, because we have plans to actually start on the mediums. And from a race that I did as a practice race, and from a race that I did in career mode, because I finally sucked up and did USA so I can actually have fun for the last 3 races. The mediums to softs and then softs again is actually a very good strategy, as actually we invalidate our first medium run on the exit of turn 3, but luckily we didn't butcher our tyres enough, so we get to go again. And now we're on our second medium lap, coming through the S section, and we keep it clean through there. We're currently nearly 3/10 up on our medium lap, on our previous soft lap, but we invalidate again. So that was pretty unfortunate that we invalidated there, but this is actually going to come as a slight blessing, because now we get to go on the softs, and that medium lap would have probably only been good enough for P7, P8, so that strategy wouldn't have really worked out for us starting on the mediums. So now with the softs we get to be even closer to the front of the field, and we know for certain that Casper is doing soft medium, I believe. And we're going to start our lap now. So I'll take you on a onboard lap of Mexico. As you can see, we're gaining time throughout the entirety of this straight, because we actually haven't improved on our first lap time that we did with no ERS. So what you want to do is you want to hug the left hand side. I could have used a bit more entry space. Brake really late, going into turns 1 and 2. We actually missed the curb a bit on turn 2, so that affects our run out of turn 3. But we're still gaining time, we're about half a second up now. Going into turn 4, want to brake around the 100-meter board. Second gear, rotate the car in, and then use all of the exit space. Going into turn 6 and 7, I believe. Just sort of rotate the car around there. It's basically a big hairpin. Now comes the crucial point. You want to be as quick and as clean as possible. Be very precise with where you place the car. Hold it in 7th gear, pretty much flat out through there nearly. A tiny little bit of lifting. We're now a second up. We actually get purple in the middle sector, so we're on a very good lap here. Don't invalidate. Go 3rd gear, short shift up to 4th and then to 5th. Actually, don't go to 5th, stay in 4th. Keep the car in 2nd to get the rotation, then short shift into 3rd and 4th. Get the traction, then come through the final corner. You want to just floor the car out of here, hug the right hand side to get the fastest runner. We come across the line to do a 13.6, and that puts us in P2, 3.5 tenths off of Casper. That's a very good lap there from us, and that's going to be P2. As it's only Oslo Fish that's on our lap, and he's currently down on his previous best time. So starting P2, this is interesting because I feel starting not on pole is actually a strategic advantage here, because of the absolutely gargantuan run down to turn 1. The slipstream effect will be insanely powerful. So we could well and truly be third. We could well and truly be first going into turn 1, and we're going to be obviously communicating with Alex. I don't know whether we do this on the formation lap, so I'll leave you all to listen to that. But basically, we're going to be communicating how we're going to play this. I'm going to stick to the right, Alex is going to go to the left, just so we don't block each other, where we can potentially both have Casper going into turn 1. But I will join you for the start of the race. We're going to be doing soft, medium, because we're the closest one to Casper, so we're going to cover him off. We're going to put in a little extra fuel, and I will see you for the race.
Oh god. Wait, we thought to run it within 2 minutes.
Have we been told to wait, or?
No, it's just. I think I'm going to do 15 laps on the mediums in the middle.
I'm stopping lap 10, lap 21.
I might just stop lap 10. I could go 1 lap shorter. Yeah, I'll put lap 9 and lap 25.
Okay.
And I'll put 2.5 laps of fuel in. How much are you putting in?
2.4. Right. I might extend that actually.
I'll put 2.6. 2.10 actually. 4% of your tyres on now. What the hell?
6666.
Mine were on fucking 6665 when I came into the pits. Now they're on 8788. What the fuck is that?
Big brain.
Tyres already on 10%. Joke.
Cass was removing the entire lap, so his is going to be quite high as well. Cass was removing the entire lap, so his tyres going to be quite wanty.
Chris didn't want to get much closer, did he? Okay, now. Alright. Good luck to you. I'll go around them right if I get a good start.
Okay, I'll keep left. So we've lined up for the grid here, just waiting for everyone else to line up, which they have done now. And lights are going underway now. We've got 3, 4, 5 red lights, and it's lights out and away we go. Very quick start. We get a pretty decent start alongside Casper. We're going to throw over to Rich, but Shuey gets a fantastic start. He's going to squeeze up the inside of both of us. A little bit of wheel banging there. As Shuey is going to overtake myself. He's going to overtake Casper. He's going to be first going to turn 1. And now we've got Alex and Kostag. It's 3 wide going to turn 1. And we decide to let that go. We try and hang around the outside of Kostag, but the gap isn't really there for turn 3. And now we're going to be under threat from Cupid and Callum behind us. So we're going to use a little bit of overtake to try and hold the position. It's been a pretty horrendous start. We had a good initial start, but we just got swamped. And now we're down to P5. Cupid tries to go up our inside, but we have the ascendancy going into the next right-hander. Kostag and Casper are battling away. It's been very hectic. Our teammate has managed to get into P2. Now he's got to chase down Shuey. Casper's into P3, so that's good. He's lost positions. Casper's insanely quick at this track. His time trial is, I think it's in the 1 minute 12s. It's ridiculous. Now our first protocol is to try and get past Kostag, a new driver for this race. He's a pretty quick driver. Obviously he's in P4 at the moment. There's a bullard that's just gone shooting across the track. I don't know who that was from. But now what we're going to do is, I believe I increased the brake bias a little bit, up to 52%. This is going to help rear stability, especially against tie hairpin. Actually, Casper and Kostag have a bit of contact. Kostag spins, and that was far too close for comfort. He nearly takes us out. There's a little bit of contact with him and Casper there. So that promotes up into P4, and that's held up Casper a lot. So now we can try and put him under pressure and keep our teammates safe. But yes, the reason we've upped the brake bias to 52% is coming into the hairpin in the stadium section. I want to get a tiny bit more rotation out of the car, especially come when the tyres are a bit more worn. So coming through here, it's usually you lock up the fronts quite a bit and you don't get that much rotation. So upping the brake bias, upping the brake bias means you're going to look up the fronts a bit more, but you get a lot of nicer rotation, and it helps with tyre wear. So it helps when you've got more worn tyres, should I say. But anyway, we're on to lap 3 now. DRS is enabled this lap. My teammate and Shuey they've bolted. They're 3 seconds up the road already, as they're currently fighting out for position 1. Me and Casper I'm hanging back. We know for a fact that Casper is running higher downforce than me and Alex. So he's just going to be easy pickings down the main straights, well, down the straights, any of them really. As Alex picks up his first penalty on lap 4. So Casper is going to have more tyre wear, he's going to have worse ERS regeneration, and he's going to be slow in the straights. So we have a lot of advantages over Casper, just raw pace isn't going to be one of them. Now hopefully we can get past him soon. As though, we're on to lap 4, we're just following him through here. On to lap 5 now, we're still following Casper, coming through the stadium section. Shuey actually has a moment, loses traction, and he loses his front wing, and that was such a dangerous rejoin of the track. It nearly wipes Casper out, and we were not too far behind getting touched as well. But now we have DRS on Casper. He's quite low on ERS, so we're going to use a little bit to propel ourselves up into P2. Unfortunately, we don't get the move done here. I don't really want to get the move done here because we'll lose far too much time going through the triple chicane. And now we're going to, we're actually not going to use ERS, we're going to wait a bit. We're just going to let Casper pull us along a bit. We're going to save ERS. We're actually closed up on our teammate despite this battling. Gap is now 2.2 seconds. So within a couple of laps, we might actually be on the back of our teammates. We run a bit wide there, but luckily we don't get a warning. Penalties are going to be ridiculously... They're going to be high. I mean, in the tier 2 and 3 races, I think about 1 or 2 people got disqualified. As we pick up, I think that's our first warning, maybe our second. But yeah, penalties could well and truly decide this race. So we've got to keep it as clean as possible, and Casper is notorious for not getting penalties. So too with Callum, but he's like seconds down. So I don't really see Callum as all too much of a threat. Websy is definitely a threat this race, as now we've got DRS on Casper again. He's obviously very slow straight. I don't think he's using any ERS, so he's just really low on it. But we get up the inside into turn 1, and we make the move stick. And now we're going to try and propel ourselves a lot closer to our teammate. We've got DRS again on the second straight, so we're going to use that in a bit of overtake just to get away from Casper. So, yeah, I mean, maybe that was a strategic move from Casper. I don't know. I'd assume it would be. That's what I would do in the situation. If I knew I was slow in a straight line, I would let the faster person go forward, and then I would use I would get DRS, and I would just save ERS as we actually pick up our first time penalty of the race. But yeah, so that might be strategic from Casper. We don't know. I was actually communicating. I forgot to mention that Casper's collision with Kostag earlier in the race, I thought he'd picked up wing damage because he looked very slow on the preceding few corners. But I dismissed that. I told Alex that he didn't have damage because he was still holding pace. Turns out he did. And as you can see, Alex goes into the pit lane and he unfortunately speeds into the pit lane by over 2 miles an hour. So the Alfa Romeo boys are doing everything in their power to get as many penalties as possible. But this is interesting because Alex is doing soft, medium, soft. Me and Casper are doing soft, soft, medium. And Casper's pulled the undercut, and the undercut is worth at least 3 seconds around here. It's ridiculously powerful. Websy also is another driver that's very consistent and doesn't get many penalties. And he's on the medium, so he's going to be doing double softs at the end. So he could even potentially be a threat if there's a late safety car or just on raw pace. The softs at the last end of this race are ridiculously powerful. As I will prove in my career mode at Mexico once I upload that. But you can see we're pitting now on lap 10 onto the soft compound tyres. Casper picks up a penalty. So that eases the pressure on us a bit, and he gets ahead of us. I don't think he had a great outlap, outlap, because he's only just a few tenths in front. But hopefully now we can, with our fresher tyres, just breeze past him and start working our way towards our teammate. And the interesting thing here is during the race, Alex was already saying that it's pretty much down to me and Casper because of his penalties. Which turns out it won't be the case later on in the race, because he will be on the softs, and the softs gain a lot. They're ridiculously quick. In the last race I've already said, in the latter half of the race rather, so we shall see. It looks like it's going to be a three-way fight for the win again, between us three. We've caught up to the back of Alex now on lap 13, and now I'm going to try and get ahead of Casper so I can put a car between myself and Alex, and then I'm going to try and get ahead of Alex. So we're just going to find the right position to do a move on Casper. It's most likely not going to be into the stadium section, because he's far too quick through the for this middle part of the lap. But we shall see. I want to try and do all the main straight. Obviously, we know Casper's been using a lot more ERS than what he'd liked. We're only on 70%, which is more than he has, but it's not ideal. I think my teammate's on at least full. Like isn't using like any. As we go through the stadium now, through the final corner, Casper gets a bit wide, so we get a lovely run out of here. He actually loses the car a little bit, which holds us up. Holds us both up really. Coming onto the main straight, so now we're going to burn ERS. We're going to get past him here. We have to. We're losing too much time. Our softs are becoming irrelevant compared to my teammate, and we could actually potentially lose this race to Alex. So well, we go for a look at the inside, but Casper blocks it off. And now we saved a lot of ERS. We didn't use as much on our main straight, so we're going to use it all here. We're going to put it into. We're actually going to put it up into overtake. I think we might do it now. No, we're going to wait another lap. I think it's a good little scrap here. We're now actually coming back up to FTR C-Night, who had a bit of a spin session earlier on, and decided that it was Dirt 4 rather than F1. So we'll go to the back of those. So hopefully they can give Alex DRS, and that can make life more difficult for Casper. As we're coming through the S's again now, we get another warning. So I think we're one more warning away from a penalty, which is not good. But into the stadium now, again we're close up to the back of Casper. This is actually Websy that we've closed the back. He's on mediums, but he's going to be pitting this lap. So this is going to give Alex DRS. And this is either going to force Casper to burn a lot of ERS or just not burn any, because he knows he won't be able to overtake my teammate. But we're actually going to burn all of our ERS now. We've sort of got Casper napping a little bit, and we already have the overspeed on him. So we're going to hopefully maybe look for a move on the inside. But that means getting out of the slipstream of our teammate. This is all very difficult, because if I go for a lunge, I run the risk of hitting Alex, and also Casper has the DRS and slipstream of Alex. But we get a fantastic run out of turn 3, and Casper isn't using any ERS until the latter part of the straight, so we're going to go right around the outside here with our one lap fresher softs, and up the inside we hold the ascendancy. We do leave him a bit of room, but Casper backs out the move. He's still holding front wing damage at this point. It's only when he comes to pit in for mediums that he's going to change his front wing. So now our job is to get past our teammate. We're only on 30% ERS, so you can probably hear me communicating that around about now. But luckily Alex is actually, he's not going to slow down, but he's going to let us go through on the main straight. He's not going to fight it. He's just going to move off to the left, move off to the right rather than let us go through. And then he can taggle onto the back of our DRS and pull himself along and try and minimise the damage that his 5-second penalty is going to do to him in the next pit stop. So we're going to have DRS'd out. We're going to burn a tiny bit of overtake just to sort of propel out, because I wasn't feel like I was catching us, so we're going to propel ourselves a bit closer. There we go. And now we're going to go around the outside. He brakes a little bit early just so we don't have any kerfuffling going into this corner. And there we go. We assume P1. And this is still technically P1 because of Alex's penalty. But once that gets served, he's going to be on fresh softs, and it's going to be very threatening, because we cut onto lap 19 now, a couple laps away from our pit stop. We've caught up to the back of Uslo Fish and FTR C-Night, who are currently battling a lap down, but Uslo pulls off to the left-hand side, which sort of forces Chris to do the same, but they wanted to let us go through. They know how distracting it is with AI cars and them ghosting. But currently on lap 19, me and Alex have both picked up another penalty each, and also onto lap 22 now Casper has as well. And Casper once again decides to go for the undercut. Actually, I don't think that's the undercut. I think that's his scheduled pit stop. Because he went for the undercut the previous stint. I assumed he was going to go for the undercut again. But we're going to stay out one extra lap. Just to give our teammate DRS and potentially use his soft tyres to prepare ourselves a bit more. As you see, coming to the pits now. So put a set of medium tyres on for our final stint of the race. As you can see, Casper is 28 seconds behind us. I didn't know at the time, but I was looking, I was like, where the hell's Casper? And then I realised that he was so far down, so I thought he'd spun, because I didn't think he had wing damage. It's not until after the race that he said he had damage. So that's going to help us a lot in this race. However, we're still going to have the issue of our teammate on fresh soft tyres. He's going to be coming into the pits in about 3 to 4 laps time. But his softs are going to be insanely quick. So we're going to have a big undercut, but he's going to gain all of that back in the pit stops. In the last 10 laps of the race because of the soft tyre advantage. As though we're catching to the back of Shuey, who's on the hard compound tyres. They're very old at this point, and we're just going to breeze past it. We've got 100% ERS. We've got Websy behind on softs, but those softs are quite old. Yeah, now we're going to get past Shuey here. He doesn't really fight at all too much. He's not really using much overtake, and he lets us go through. He's going to make another stop in this race, so it makes sense for him not to fight us. Casper is now 6 seconds down on us, and our teammate is currently 19 seconds ahead of us, but he still has that 5-second penalty to serve, so realistically our teammate is only 14 seconds ahead of us. So this is going to be very close. As you can see, cut on to lap 25, we get fastest lap of the race is 16.3. Thanks to the DRS from Shuey. And now lap 25, our teammate is coming to the pits to put on a new set of soft tyres, and he's going to run an 11 lap stint to the end on those tyres, and he will come out just behind Casper. But he's cleared his 5-second penalty, so the top 4 now all have 6 seconds worth of penalties, as now I get 9 seconds worth of penalties. Now, Shuey isn't a factor in this race because he'll get gobbled up on those old hards, but I need to keep a 3-second gap to anybody who is in second. So, yeah, this is going to be a tough ordeal, as my teammate is currently encountering a bit of shenanigans from Express Cupid, who is overtaking him, then letting him go, then overtaking him again. Express Cupid is actually a lap down, but is distracting Alex a lot, and as a result of that, Alex picks up a 3-second penalty. So both of us are now to 9 seconds of penalties. Shuey pits, so he's out of this. So now Casper has to get within 3 seconds of me, and he will win this race. As we cut to lap 31 now, Casper picks up another 3-second tyre penalty. So we're now all on 9 seconds of penalties. My teammate is within a second of Casper. I'm 4 seconds ahead of Casper now. So what I've got to do now is just hold out, not get any penalties. We can afford one more penalty, but I'd rather not, because that puts things a lot closer than what I'd like them to be. We're on lap 32 here. We've got 5 laps left of this race, and we get a warning for exceeding track limits. So we've got one more warning, and then after that, if we get another warning, we get a penalty. As you can see, my teammate actually goes round the outside of Casper there. So it's now an Alfa Romeo 1-2. As we see, we run wide again on the exit of turn 5, and that's now another warning. So one more warning, and we have a penalty. And that means we only have an 8/10th gap to play with to my teammate on fresh softs. And now, as you can see, our teammates gained 4 tenths of us on the last lap, and we pick up a penalty. Now we've only got a 4/10th gap. And I could tell my heart was pounding at this point, because every lap that goes by, I will have an advantage over my teammate because his tyres will be wearing out faster than mine. But I've got to remember that if he gets within 3 seconds, he will win this race. So as we cut onto the final lap of the Grand Prix, we have a 4/10 advantage. Luckily, none of them are inside DRS. Casper's inside DRS and my teammate. So now I've got to hope that those two battle. This is exactly like it was in Season 1 around Mexico. I've got to hope the second and third battle to give me an advantage. Casper actually gets ahead of my teammate, but my teammate gets him back under braking. And we're taking this so cautiously. We do not want to get another penalty. Otherwise, that is it for our win. Now coming into turn 4. Take it nice and slow. We've got a 7/10 gap now. That gap is only going to increase as Alex's tyres are going to be 11 laps old, plus a lap that he did in qualifying. And now we have nearly a second's advantage, but this could potentially come down, so we just got to play it safe. Focus on exactly where I'm placing the car. We'll keep it in 6th gear through here, but we'll take it so cautiously. And now we've only got the stadium section to negotiate. Only really one more place where I can get a warning and a penalty. We don't run wide through there. FTR now retires from the session. You can see the confetti going off everywhere. We actually have a really poor run through the stadium section, but the gap is still a second. We've still got a second in the bag, and coming through the final corner, we are going to win the Mexican Grand Prix, our first win in 6 races, our first win of Season 2, and it's an Alfa Romeo 1-2. What a race. I was incredible. I'm sure you can hear my reaction. I was absolutely, I was so happy with that result. I'm still really happy about it now. And that is what we needed. A win, a 1-2. And it came at Mexico. Mexico seems to be my track. But yeah. What a race. So I'll join you all for the standings after the classification.
Possessing me during that medium stint.
You were so quick stint.
I don't know how. It was really weird. It was as if there was no dirty air through the middle sector. Oh my, look at that. 9/10ths. 10ths.
Oh, it's 6 races without a win.
Well, happy we're the first team to ever get a 1-2, I think.
Well, we're the first tier 1 team to get a 1-2. Fuck yes. Oh, my heart rate is not
And I don't
good.
care because I outscored everyone I needed to. So.
You got so unlucky. You'd have won that if you hadn't got that penalty. That's a good fucking sight, isn't it? Seeing us two on the first 2 steps of the podium.
It is. What? Kostag defo deserved driver then? Are you kidding me, man? What is it with this bullshit? No, I'm sorry. I know you won, but I fucking started P4. I had a fucking 5-second fucking penalty, and I almost won. Oh, I almost would have won if it weren't for that battle, and it probably would have been about a 10th between us. How is that fucking? Oh my god.
I'm gonna, when the advice is, I'm gonna say something, because I'm sorry, you deserve drive for the day, totally.
Thank you very much.
Oh, the penalties. Man, I'm shitting myself. There's like
Look at the gap. Just look at the gaps when the penalties come off. Wait for it, wait for it. Come on. 14, 23, 45, 49, 50, 106, 1 lap, 2 laps.
Yep. Holy shit. Good fucking job though. Right, I guess we'll just go join the mark.
So, yeah, I'm still so happy about that, and that result promotes us up into 3rd in the driver's standings. 77 points behind our teammate, so still a long way to go to catch up to Alex, but we're getting there. We've closed up to Websy as well. Alex is still extending his points to the top of the championship. Casper is still gaining positions in the chat. I don't think he's actually gained on his teammate. Yeah, no, he's gaining, but he's still remaining in 7th position. He's only 10 points behind us though. So it's very close. We've just got to hope that this Azerbaijan was a turning point for us, for all of us. Myself and Casper finally got on the podium. But yeah, it's just a perfect result, the one that we really needed. And we're now, Alfa Romeo are running away with the constructors. You can see 63 points back to Mercedes in second place. McLaren are also gaining on Mercedes. And now we've got to take this win and we've got to keep outscoring our teammate, keep outscoring Casper. And this championship is suddenly looking a little bit brighter than it was a few races ago. So if you did enjoy this video, please do leave a like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff if you want to join FTR. Discord name is in the Season 1 FTR videos, so drop me a message there and I'll catch you all for Round 7, the Australian Grand Prix of Season 2 of FTR, very soon.